the Willamette MBA for nearly 40 years, offering professionals and local businesses the opportunity to be more.
So I brought this dinosaur because this is the Geoloqi mascot. A lot of developer-oriented companies have funny mascots. GitHub has an octocat, which is half cat and half octopus. We have this tiny dinosaur. Actually, this one's quite a bit larger than the tiny ones that we usually give out as stickers. But the whole idea behind it is that location, which we're in the space of, is very weird and scary and creepy. And if we had a friendly dinosaur mascot, it would be a little bit more approachable. Also, in a very crowded landscape of different companies, like 30 to 50 companies trying to do the same thing as us, this is one of the ways we could differentiate, by being friendly and being approachable. So with that said, we had lots of developers sign up, lots of larger companies, and we were finally acquired about 3 months ago. So the goal that I have yet to achieve is, well, there's a bunch of them. I usually kind of plan out 5 years at a time, where I really don't like to achieve a giant goal, but on the other hand, I like to have at the end of 5 years some ridiculous, impossible goal. So I set something, 5 years ago, I want to give a TED Talk, or I want to keynote South by Southwest. At that time, that was impossible for me. Like, I thought, this is going to be completely impossible. And so I just stored it away as a joke, like, wouldn't it be funny if that happened? And so my kind of subconscious mind would show up every once in a while and be like, here's an opportunity you should take because it could lead to this. Okay, I'll do this thing. So I ended up doing all these things that I was really uncomfortable doing because they led to this end goal that I thought I wouldn't be able to achieve and was really silly. And then eventually I ended up getting those goals. So now I have, other series of goals that are equally ridiculous, which I'm not going to reveal because they sound really ridiculous. But in terms of business, I like the idea of doing something really, really small and learning a really small lesson and doing something medium-sized and then doing something a little bit larger. This very incremental approach allows, less failure over time and also allows you to be kind of modest. Say I had started a company and sold for, $3 billion. The next time I did a company, I would say, I'm invincible. I'm going to, raise a lot of money and automatically my next product's going to be great because there's no way I could fail because this one company was so great. And I think a lot of people kind of have that weird idea of, if they're really successful first, they didn't learn the lessons through failure and through doing something small, and they don't have incremental approach. They have a tendency to have something really big, and then they have a giant catastrophic failure, and then they have something really big. And there's a fine line every single day in a startup between success and failure. So you don't really know which one's going to happen, and to be kind of modest and understand you are nothing no matter what, anytime, and know that you're really at the mercy of market forces and timing, and you can help, but if you're badly placed, sometimes you just need to give up and do something else. So I think that the next big accomplishment is just learning a modest lesson in management and learning a modest lesson in running a team that's more than 10 people, because those are things I've traditionally not been very well, I've never had that experience. So if I learn that, then that's really the biggest accomplishment that I could do, because then I can bring that to the next company, and next company, and next company, instead of try and make something really big without understanding how those personal dynamics work. The most important lesson I learned is related to trusting your gut. And a lot of people talk about this. They say, trust your gut. Your gut feeling is the greatest. But you don't know that until you're in a situation that you really shouldn't be in, and there's this little voice in the back of your head that says, don't do that, stop, stop, stop. The first time that I agreed to get some funding from the very first person that offered us money, way before anything really started, when we were still a side project, I shook his hand and I said, oh no, I'm gonna have to back out of this. I can't do this. How am I going to stop this? And I said, oh, no, it's okay, we have to take this money or whatever. Anyway, it turned out that, yes, we had to back out of it, but we learned an important lesson that it's okay to trust your gut feeling, and it's okay to take a really big risk if you know it's correct. So a lot of times, people have been like, hey, we're gonna get this giant customer, it's gonna be this much, but there's something wrong, or we don't really like the people that we're working with. And so we've always said, no to that sort of thing because it hasn't felt comfortable. There's been a lot of times where there's been acquisition offers and we've just been like, we can't do this. The whole experience and the whole point of starting this was to learn how to run a company, not to just, join something else immediately. So when Esri approached us, that was completely different. We finally felt at home, and our gut was, we need to do this, and this would be a great thing, and we'd be really happy. So I think it's all about, everybody talks about business being very cold and very calculated, but in reality, it's all about connections and feelings, and it's very emotional, and it's very, there's a lot of you trying to trust something that isn't rational. There's no rationality at all, and you just have to go with this irrational idea that you have in your mind about how something should work or not, because you're blazing a path that wasn't there before, and no one's there to tell you right or wrong. So that's all you have to go on.